Okay, it is 9:55 a.m. I got out of a trade with BMIX not too long ago, actually the last minute. And this one had a very interesting spike. I was watching it, but then I decided to look at RMSL because RMSL looked like it was trying to break or get to the 3 cent level, and that could have been like a multi-day breakout. It's still something that I'm looking at, but it didn't do it in the morning when I was first seeing the price action here, and that did take me away from BMIX, which did make me a little salty because it did break past this level just so awkwardly, this 22 level. The way it had like a wick here, then it kind of came back, and then it went back forward above it, and then it uptrended, and it had a really nice uptrend. So I did get out of this position ultimately. I did trade this because this was like a bull flag, so it had the big spike and everything. It sells off. It even had this wick, which was real. This was like a rug pull. They just really let it get down low and it came back. If I was super quick, maybe I could have been a part of it, but that's totally fine. When it was now showing that it was breaking past this trend line, this downtrending trend line that I made off of these candles, that's when I had an interest in it. I did buy 5,000 shares at 951, and that was at 244. So right here, right around here was my entry. And I thought worst case scenario, we're going to break this 23.6 level and I'll be cutting my trade. And if we have a super panic or like a wick like it did here, I thought worst case scenario I'd be out at 2 cents, which might be a little too exaggerative, but I like to just think of worst case scenario and then trade off of that because it usually doesn't happen. And I did sell most of my position, 3,000 shares on an uptrend at 953, and I sold at what was this, 25. So I sold right here at 25 at 953, and then I had this trend line, so I figured if it breaks it, I'm gonna get out, and that's exactly what happened. I sold the last 2,000 shares of my position at 954 the next minute at 246. Right here, as you can tell, it broke under the trend line, and I got out at 246. Now it managed to only get down to 242, and it held VWAP, but I just want to play it safe, especially when it can show that it can just have a big wick like this and do something super ugly. It did catch itself. It's still trying to trade around the 25s, and I'll continue to look at it. And on my other screen, I am watching RMSL. At least I should be watching RMSL for a potential breakout past 3. The only issue is that this one isn't really having that much volume. I will make an update later, but that was a trade. This was like a bull flag, or you might even say like a first dip towards VWAP setup with BMIX. Okay, it is 7:57 p.m. and I'm here to call it off. Overall, I'm going to be up on the day just a little. $2.20, and that was with that trade with BMIX way over here when it had that first dip towards this VWAP level. Also, it was bull flag in theory. At least to me, it looks like a bull flag. And yeah, minus this wick, I think this pretty much worked out, and it did offer some room towards the top, not very much. And I was also watching it when it was down here because I thought it could be like the head of an inverse head and shoulders, which it ended up doing actually. It made a shoulder here. This did play out as the head, and then I thought it could make a shoulder, which you might even say this is the shoulder, but I don't like the way it really traded. It's kind of like SYXX where it just kind of pops off and then it kind of comes back, pops off, where it would be best to get filled at the bid instead of the ask because the spread is kind of large, at least larger than what I would want it to be. Other than that, it wasn't really much in terms of setups. Nothing really interesting with the other ones, but at least this one did offer opportunity, and it also offered a nice morning spike. And this was originally something that I was looking at not too long ago when it was trying to break that 1.7 level. So yeah, that's pretty much it for today. Just one trade, and I also had to have traded a bit more size to be closer to a $30 risk level. So the fact that there were a few things I could have done better, and another setup that I could have taken. I like how there's still room for improvement even right now when it doesn't seem like there's much going on in the markets. There's always something to learn.